Okay. So, from contraction to expansion, I don't know if I like that. Like, legit. I mean, I kind of named the series. I'm kind of just kind of chronicling the journey. None of that is important. Like, this is about the build of expansion. And it's like I don't know how much to say. Nagano! No, no, no. I feel like anybody ever seen this. Okay, be serious. Okay, so today has been really fruitful. I'm noticing a pattern of having fruitful days that aren't very productive. Way too much time being wasted, way too much playtime. But then, like, ending the day, we're like, oh, wow, like, this was like a meaningful step forward. um, yeah, so today my goal aim was kind of to start building some of the visual elements. So I created like an icon sort of kind of, which I'll probably use for like school. I don't yet love concentric circles, intro to expansion on that tile just yet. That could be because I don't have the font that I exactly want yet. I'm working on now, and I'll come back to that. Um, it could be a font thing. It could be like the effect that I'm using like in Canva on the font that I just don't particularly love. Um, but I'm like working on that like actively. Um, I think the thing that I am walking away with, because I think when you're thinking about like building logos, branding elements, and all of those things, you think I have to do something. I have to do something. I have it. It can't be simple. And like being that I'm not like a graphic designer or like a visual artist yet, that's neither here nor there. It's certainly not here. Not being a visual artist, it's just like kind of like doing a bunch of stuff. And I think where I am stronger is like visual elements that are instructive and not as opposed to or just stronger than like the visual logo like element. But as it relates to that, I think the big thing is that this is supposed to be simple. Like I said, that my design principles are simple, practical, accessible, fun, futuristic, and sharp. Um, and I think I keep trying to overcomplicate because the main thing is like the concentric circles is like a frequently occurring. It's like a phrase. A it's something that you see in ripples and like targets, all kinds of things. Um, and so I think that's a foundational model that I will teach and instruct from, and I just don't think it needs overcomplication. I think there are some very slight things that can be done. I'm looking at the logos. Very slight things that can be done to kind of like make it stand out a little bit more, but I think it won't be a ton of stuff. And this is also V1. This is like, I think one of the things that I'm learning, and I think I'll do a separate video about that, is not to get so caught up on the packaging and to really focus on like getting to delivery. So I think more than anything else, I'm excited. And one of the things I'll mention is like a visual thing that I kind of pull. I don't know why I'd be so winded whenever I record these videos. I mean, I have been dancing. But um, yeah, the visual element is like primary in terms of like seeing it, but secondary in terms of like importance, especially for me and for this. Like once you get behind the doors, and behind the doors is like, let me hear you talk about this thing. It gets immediately instructive. And it's just like that obvious symbol that didn't get overcomplicated by stuff that I can now see everywhere. So like if the immediate circle is individuality and like who am I separate from everybody else? What are my boundaries? Where do I end and other people begin? And then the circle that surrounds it means signifies creativity. It's a video of like a bike that's a cyclist riding through New York. Uh, creativity, when somebody like goes to Target, like they see those two circles, and like that can be a in the wild reminder of like something I hope to have instructed and taught on well. So that's that. So it's just like I think I will figure out the font tonight. Maybe, sorry, maybe I just had like an ice cream cone, and like egg salad a little earlier. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I think I have what am I doing? I might put the text on like an icon, a square, and then see how that looks and feels, and kind of call it. And then tomorrow, I can start slapping that in various places. Yeah, I did totally hope to get a lot more, a lot more done today than I did, and I'm gonna try my best not to let that. I had fun. I've had fun. But yeah, lack of check marks, because I have a to-do list of a bunch of stuff. Lack of check marks aside, this feels good. This feels good, and like the biggest thing. So, let's see if I can do it with this. I hate it. It's kind of like reversed. So the other day I was in the kitchen, and I'm like, okay, so individuality is like the first circle. That's that's the first circle kind of, but that's not the first thing that we address. The first thing we address is what I'll come back to. But like it's foundational. It's just like who are you as an individual? As an individual, how do you determine what's not for you? How do you determine like what's yours to have, and like what is your energetic and personal standard litmus test sense that guides you saying no to some things and yes to others, no to some people and yes to others, that whole thing. But the thing that animates that individuality is like power, and this in this state is colored in black because that's kind of like a conversation about the shadow, and how in our shadow is, I always forget this D word, disavowed, denied, disowned characteristics, gifts, talents, anything that from birth to here, and also the unconscious, the wild unconscious, the infinite unconscious, the collective unconscious. But anything from birth to here that felt like it would give us more undue or undesired attention, that might make us a target that other people didn't like, that we didn't feel we had the capacity to hold, like gifts, talents, and things like that, goes into the shadow. And so when we're talking about, or I'm sorry, when I'm talking about the ability to kind of create your own life, the ability to expand into yourself, coming from individuality and knowing who you are and what you want, like I think the thing that is important there is that like there is so much of you that is in your shadow that you aren't aware of, that is ready to be, to a degree and in varying levels, that is ready to be integrated, engaged, and brought into the main auditorium of your personhood to be utilized and to be a part of the family, if you will. So individuality is primary, but power is foundational. Yeah, I think that's the best way to say that. But while I was working on this stuff today, I figured out, because like the thing about the shadow is that it holds, Carl Jung just gave I think it was Carl Jung or somebody else gave like just a statistic that was just like, the shadow is like 90% gold or something. And that just means that there's so many good qualities that we feel like we have to throw away and get rid of that exist in that shadow. And like it gets to be this really resplendent and vibrant and radiant components of ourselves that go from our essence, sorry. Our essence is like blocked by all kinds of stuff, beliefs, lies, family patterns, societal identity anchors, like, oh, because you are this means this, like all kinds of things that cause you to be really tangled up and like not in full control of your essence, who you are, your individuality, yada yada yada. But once you realize, like, oh, there's a lot of good in that shadow, it becomes a lot less of darkness, and more so all of these things can be transmuted and turned into something beautiful. And so that was the kind of image that I got to yeah. Interesting. Interesting. And I say that because, like, I think that is can be reworked for like a later kind of module. The opposite of, because individuality, creativity, and expansion are pillars. Power is foundational, and then close, and then so that can be for something else. It could be reworked, and so like I'm gonna do anyway. This is recorded, but like live. So today has been dynamic per usual, but it's been fruitful, and I'm glad. I was gonna say that I could be like a hair surgeon because the way that I'm splitting hairs over these fonts is ridiculous. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Yep. The way that I'm splitting hairs over these fonts, like one is heavy and I think that one can go. But like then I feel bad about getting rid of it, but I think that one can go because it's heavier. And like I'll look at one of my, oh, that's the font, and then I'll look at the other one, it's like, oh no, well maybe that's the font. So, but great things moving forward. I think I will put that in another video. So this is all of this, and like this is already 12 minutes, so whatever.